I'm Ben here at the Bike Shed Festival at Lydden Hill. I've entered my Triton into the vintage class and had a storming couple of rides, really pleased. I'll tell you a little bit about the bike because it's what started me and my friends with the Gnas bikes down here in Cornwall. Gnas in Cornish means characterful, and as you can see by the bike you can tell where the name came from. It's a very old Triton, built probably in the very early 60s. It's got a very rare Norton featherbed wide line bolt-up frame. They only made that frame for a year, and we know it's an old Triton not only because of the frame but because of the engine. Is a 57 all-iron single carb 500. The gearbox itself is from the late 40s, so a very early Triton indeed. I found it pretty much as it is, but in big chunks, and what we think happened is the gentleman that rode it and raced it fell off it, took some big chunks out of the right hand side here, still visible in different places around the bike. This little bit here in the scrape and the pegs really adds to the character and tells its story, and we really love to retain that with our bikes. It started up pretty good after I put it back together. Just needed the BTH Race mag magnetised, and I've been riding it for about 7 years. I ride it to go and get a pint of milk with a rucksack on my bike, and people often stop and stare and think it's a little bit weird and say, does it brake well, does it handle well? And you'd be surprised, despite the way it looks, it handles fantastically, it's very predictive, the brake's very good. It's got a John Tickle twin leading shoe front brake on it, which is pretty good actually for an old brake. And for a 500 old twin with the single carb, it goes pretty well. It's got 9:1 compression, 3134 cams, had the head done, and yeah, it's a great bike to ride. A special little feature that you might see if you see me going around the track here today is this pad here is what all the old boys used to put their chin on to get streamlined, and I tried to do that. It's a bit bumpy, a bit rattly, but it helps with the comfort just a little bit.
How did it race? You just taken it vintage.
Well, we had a little problem. I went out in the qualifying this morning, and I was pretty pleased with my times. See, I've never been here to Lydden, and we came back in and we had a little issue with an overflow pipe. So we messed about with it, really busy in the pits here, got it all sorted out, had to adjust the gear lever and take the kickstart off, and we bump started it, and as soon as I got down to the waiting area, I've noticed it was only running on one cylinder. I stopped the bike and I was shouting for help, and thankfully some people came over to help, held my helmet. I jumped off, took my gloves off, screwed the wire back in for the plug lead, and obviously with no kickstart I couldn't start it on my own. So my friends Dane and Nick jumped over, and a very kind gentleman in a red jacket jumped over, and we pushed it up and down the pit lane trying to get it to go, but everyone had done their warm-up lap, lined up on the grid, and it was just flooded on the one cylinder. And I said to the boys, please keep pushing, it's gonna go. And the marshal came up and he said, boys, if you get this thing to go, you can get out on the track. So we had a real good ditched effort, 3 of them pushing. The old girl fired up, and I went around. It was a big whoa-hey as I went out on the track, and I did a warm-up lap while they were probably on their 3rd lap, and then I had a real storming go at the track. I was so pleased, and at the end I saw several people really cheering that I managed to get round and managed to carve through a few of the other vintage bikes. I was so happy in it. It's really made my day, and you know, that's what old proper classics are all about. It's the adventure of just getting it on the track as well as riding it around the track. So absolutely stoked, really happy.
Are we going to have to get the boys to start?
We could push start it, but the boys might be too worn out. Should we give it a go? Do you want to give it a go for a bump start? This will have to come out though. We'll do it. I hope you like the bike. Please have a look at our Instagram page at Gnas Life, and hopefully see you on the track soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bike Shed YouTube channel to see more interesting bikes.